You're listening to the Earful Tower podcast. My name's Oliver G. This is a show all about sort of uncovering what Paris has to offer. And you've come at a time when the season is all about the arrondissements of Paris. We're going from 20 down to 1, spending 24 hours in each of them. This week, we're staying in the 17th arrondissement, which is a very healthy mix of family, village-type life and sort of expensive residential, beautiful architecture, slice of life. Mix the two together and what do you got? You got this week's podcast episode. Co-hosted by my wife, Lena Norton G.
Hello.
And featuring a look at Paris like you've never seen before. In this episode, you'll also hear from an American who lives in a very unique apartment indeed, and a bartender who left one of the top hotel bars in the country to start his own place in the 17th. This is a bar with a very interesting backstory. But first, the music you're about to hear features a clue about how we got around the 17th district. See if you can figure it out. Ah, lovely. That's La Bicyclette by Yves Montand, as played by long-time Earful listener Press Maxon. Last week, we didn't shout out that the piano music was your dad.
Yeah.
Which...
Hey, Papa.
Yeah, it's a bit of a family show. Funny I say family because this week we're in a family district.
Nice.
The 17th.
Nice
You like that?
tie-in there.
The 17th. Now, this was always going to be hard because it's the 17th isn't the Paris that you dream of. Last week, the 18th, it is Paris that you dream of.
Yeah, exactly.
Montmartre, that was famous. 17th isn't.
Yeah, what's there?
Well, you ask me.
A little
ask me.
slice of the Arc de Triomphe.
And it doesn't even count because that's the 8th.
Yeah.
But don't ask me what's there because I asked a local what's
Even
there.
better.
You guys are about to hear the first part from Kevin, a French-English bartender at a really cool cocktail bar we went to. I just asked him, I said, what's the deal with the 17th? So we're standing out the front of his bar on a beautiful Paris night, and this is what he said. So let's start with, what's the deal with the 17th? If you had to describe it to someone who's never been here before.
It's becoming a very, very nice area where more and more people are coming here. It was more well known near the Batignolles, but people are here in this area, in the Saint-Ferdinand area. Mm-hmm. It's a much more family, a lot of regulars. It's a bit of like a little village around here. Yeah. It's around about La Place Saint-Ferdinand. You have many restaurants and stuff, and it's a lively neighborhood.
That's funny because a lot of people say the Batignolles is the family area of the 17th. You'd say the same about here?
This is a very, very, very family residential area.
Okay.
Yes. Batignolles is becoming the place to be. This is a bit more quieter.
Okay, and what do you like? What kind of people come for a cocktail at your bar? Tell us about your bar.
I have we've been working. We've got a lot of regulars here actually from the area. I'm going to have a lot of tourists as well because you have many famous hotels in the area, and we're about 5 to 10 minutes walk from the Champs-Élysées. So we have tourists as well. We just walk around in this quiet neighborhood, and it's. Well, you've got some very nice restaurants.
Yeah. So it's funny how he also said village because it feels like everything's been a village. So
I know. I was just gonna say I feel like every arrondissement, someone always describes it as a little village.
And I think it's because there's every block has a bakery. And like a fish shop and maybe a little park nearby.
And it is, it's true. It's, when we lived in Montmartre, we rarely left it, to be fair. And the same here in the 7th, we rarely leave it except from the season because we visit everywhere. But yeah, that's just how it is.
But the 17th, we didn't leave for 24 hours. And it was nice. It was fun. We actually had a lot of fun. You had the biggest brainwave of all to rent bicycles.
Well, I figured, there's nothing really to focus on there. So why not just create the topic instead of finding one?
I've called it a residential neighborhood before. It's a hard one to describe. It's a tricky one. But I'll tell you what, one of the ultimate signs that it is residential is finding the hotel for the 17th was easily the hardest one.
It took so long.
It took hours and
hours.
And
we didn't even do particularly well.
No, unfortunately.
To be fair.
Yeah. The one that I think the best story would have been, and I'm glad we didn't, and I don't want to, but there was like a swingers hotel. That was
You
to
rock up with a baby. We are here and we're ready.
It looked gross actually, but I bet the story would be
we
cool.
misunderstood it. We thought it would be like full of swings for the baby.
Gosh, that would be so funny. But it actually looked gross in terms of like kind of cheap champagne and rose
It was supposed to
petals on the
look
bed and,
really expensive and like
like jacuzzis in every room.
oh
but, yeah.
no. What we found was Hotel Alessandra.
Yep. And I feel it was a 4-star hotel. We picked it because it looked like it was a little village sort of.
It looked like a villa. Like it was called
a
villa,
and
it
the
was
picture of it at the front made it really look cozy, like something from the Riviera.
exactly.
And it wasn't.
And it looked family run, and it looked cute and special.
It was
and
more run down than
it
family
was
run.
definitely like chipped paint. Smoky room. Like it's
The plus
not
side
great.
was the room was big. We had an extra room, which was great for the babysitter.
I like the location.
Thanks, Julene. The location was really good, but in terms of the hotel, I think my advice would be stay in another district
Yeah,
rather than
probably
stay there.
Batignolles if you want to keep it to the 17th.
Let's talk about Batignolles, because what we did is we rented bicycles and headed there immediately.
Yeah.
And for you guys who are going to watch the YouTube video of this, there's going to be a lot of very smooth footage, because who needs a stabilizer when you've got two wheels?
Two wheels, exactly.
But what we did is we went, we cheated. This is the first time I left the district, but I went to pick up the bikes from near the Arc de Triomphe. So technically the bikes are from the 8th.
But we just dipped our toe.
Yeah. And it was fun because it was the first time we put Otis, our little boy, on a bicycle.
So cute.
We got, I don't want to be negative.
So cute.
Negative Nigel here.
No, but
the
what are you
hotel
gonna
wasn't
say?
great. And then when we rented the bikes, he's like, "Oh, we don't have helmets for babies."
We're like, what are we supposed to do then?
He
You got
goes-
us a baby seat. Like, are we supposed to?
He goes, "There's a shop that you can go buy one, I think."
I
We're
know.
like, oh, all right.
So
Okay.
we wheeled him over there, not riding, mind you.
We got some fun pictures there. But what we did is we cycled all the way to Batignolles. And this, I feel like the 17th, there's two big chunks of it that you need to know. One is the sort of fancy side, where the Arc de Triomphe and where our hotel was.
Very
and where
grand, huge buildings.
And the buildings, some of them were amazing. And they had a lot of those domed cupoles.
that you love.
Yeah, there might be a little bit more about that later. And we cycled over to the other side, which it really is the family side. There's the Square de Batignolles, this beautiful park. It's an English garden. It's kind of
wild and woolly and,
But
not
really
too pruned.
beautiful.
But I guess it is very pruned, but in a good way.
And it's quite small, but you could almost get lost there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then next, really close by is this cafe Dose, D-O-S-E, the best in the district that we found. Wonderful.
Easily the best. It's great. It's like your typical specialty coffee place.
I think
Really nice. Good quality.
Pretty much every time we talk about coffee on this show, it's going to be specialty coffee. I think once someone asked me about this, why I'm recommending coffee when you can get an espresso in every single restaurant and cafe, there's a big difference. And this is like a cappuccino or a flat white, about €5 for a coffee, where you sit down and they take it very seriously. They do all the latte art and all that stuff.
It's chemistry. Yeah.
But often, I don't know, you're not just going to get some sort of tap water mixed with a couple of coffee beans for €1, and then they're like, get out of here.
You basically, you're not going to get Richard coffee that seems to be everywhere. Otherwise, like this, the go-to in the restaurant business.
Like what you'd find in Australia.
Yeah, just good quality coffee.
You know what was fun? Jumping on the bikes again and cycling back, because we stayed essentially on the other side of the neighborhood. And singing. And I had the idea to take the listeners, to take all you guys back home with us on the bikes. So here's a little chunk of us on the bicycles. So we're better to record than on... Oh, look at that door knocker.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's one of the main things I've noticed about the 17th is that the doors are back, baby. We haven't been seeing them in the... We didn't see them in the 20th, 19th, or the 18th.
Not really. Maybe they're too new. I'm not sure. But yeah, the doors and the door knockers. And the buildings in general, I feel, are way grander.
I mean, I agree with you. And as we're coming down Rue Fortuny, which I'm not sure, but I think is after the Spanish painter.
Oh, come on. As if you did not read that on the sign back there.
You did say it on the sign.
Look, it's Swedish flag.
Oh, okay. Swedish flag at the end of Fortuny. But it's just grand. It's big. Lena's idea to hire a bicycle, perfect. You know what else I like about the Rue Fortuny?
Tell me.
It prompts the feeling of wanting to sing, and there's only one song that fits. Perfect for cycling. Oh, Fortuna.
It really was fun, the bicycles.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It took me back to when we were young.
It took me back to it felt like Sound of Music with Otis on the back.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
especially those
I don't know. I don't
they
really know how you...
have bicycles in Salzburg.
Oh, yeah, of
wow,
course.
we need to rewatch that movie.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just thinking of that when they're rowing and they all fall in the...
Oh yeah, we can do that in the Bois de Vincennes for the 12th.
Good plan.
I think now's a good time to move to nighttime when we... Every night I think we do it really well. So what we've been doing is we get a babysitter in, we make a dinner reservation, and then often we try and visit
Like a couple of bars, ideally.
contrasting bars
Yes.
too, and we did it really well here. So first we cycled out to the Arc de Triomphe at night, which everybody should see once because it's all lit up and it's beautiful, and there's a cool vibe out there at night. We didn't cross over to it because that would be cheating.
Yeah, also like very dangerous.
We saw some guy do it.
I know, just for a laugh.
This guy just ran through to make his
Yeah.
friends laugh. It was insane.
I know, it's very
If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the massive roundabout with no lanes where
It's just a free-for-all.
yeah, crazy. Anyway, so we went out there and then we were like, let's try and find a cocktail bar around here because I know there have to be some. And we essentially stumbled upon Ombre.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how we found it or didn't find it before, but it was great.
It's one of the best in the city, and it's Ambre. So Ombre, not like amber, the French word for amber.
Yeah, not shadow.
Yeah, and we went in there and we're chatting with the bartender in French. And then he goes, where are you from? And we're like, Australia and Sweden. And he said, oh, I'm English. I said, why are we speaking English?
I know, his French was like immaculate.
Well, I think he was half and half, Kevin. And you already heard him at the start of the episode. But to paint a little bit of the picture of this place, it's very cozy, very small. They take the cocktails very seriously. And a little sort of architectural delight for anyone out there, even remotely like me who likes these kind of things. There was a small, tiny little door, almost like a porthole door in the door.
Sort of like a little peephole.
Yeah, peephole.
Or, you know how they have in prison doors when
Yep.
they just open a little hatch and like, hey, you okay in there?
It was like a hatch, and I
Yeah.
think it had like a sort of mesh on it. So
It did.
Yeah. So I asked him what the deal with that was, and he said it was because the place used to be a brothel.
But of course.
But a special, like an unusual kind of brothel, and only 15 years ago, I think.
yeah.
And the idea was that, because it would be illegal to have a brothel like that, you went into the bar, it was a bar still, and you paid a lot more expensive prices for the drinks. And then every now and again, the lady of the night would take the gentleman of the night downstairs.
Of the night? It's always of the night.
For whatever happened on there. And there was no money exchanging hands for sexual services.
Very, very expensive drinks.
Apparently.
And then just like...
Yeah. So this is all that's left as a remnant of this place is that little porthole. Like, what do you call it? What did you call it?
Peephole,
yeah.
I guess.
So that's cool. And I never thought about that. Like, I guess if you see small peepholes like that, so the security would know who to let in.
Yeah.
Essentially. But I asked Kevin about his bar, and this is what he had to say.
When I think cocktail bars in Paris, I don't imagine them in residential areas.
We decided to come in this place because we used to work before at the Hotel de Crillon, which was like a 5-star hotel.
Of course.
And we decided to come in an area where there was no cocktail bars and people could add a bit of money and could understand what we're doing, because we're a very classical bar in the sense that we make old-fashioned cocktails and stuff. Of course, with our creations, but with our twist. But we stay on the classical business, you know, the classical way of doing cocktails.
Okay, I've got one final question. I'll let you get back into the bar.
Okay.
It's a tough one, though.
Okay, tell me.
If the 17th arrondissement was a cocktail, what would it be?
I would do it a bourbon old-fashioned.
Tell me more. Why would you choose that?
Because people know what they like to drink, because you have this whole woody, old-fashioned way of living in Paris, and these old buildings, close to classical things. So yeah, I would say a proper old-fashioned, very woody. Yeah.
Perfect, great answer. I'll let you get back in. I might have one of those drinks myself.
Yeah, cool, thanks.
Oh, I love that. I love that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did it before with what beer would the 19th
Panam.
be? Yeah,
I
it's
could do a
great.
whole book about it.
Compare the area to a food or drink.
We had a lovely drink there.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
And chat to the
Say hello to
bartender.
Kevin. Yeah,
Yeah.
Really, really cool dude. And speaking of the contrast of the places to go, we got on our bikes and cycled all the way to the other end of the district to a bar that I'd heard about on this show before, Cave Populaire.
Yep.
Exact opposite.
Yeah. And it's great.
You know what I just remembered? When we were in the Ambre,
Yeah.
to give everyone a sense of the different kind of people that you maybe meet, there were these two sort of businessmen in the Ambre cocktail bar, and I don't remember how it happened, but they saw me filming, I think, because I was taking
Yeah,
shots
and they
here
were
and there.
wondering what we were up to.
Yeah, and the guy goes, one of them turns to me and he goes, "What do you do?" I was like, "Podcast." He goes, "How do you make a living from that?"
Yeah, how do you monetize it?
Yeah, and I said, "Well, there's Patreon supporters." Thanks, guys. And he says, "Well, how many Patreon supporters do you have, and how much do they pay?" Okay. And he just started.
Really?
He just started doing.
I know. He's like interrogating.
Yeah. Compared to the Cave Populaire where we went next, where everyone was minding their own business. The guy had a dog next to him, like an elderly man had a dog next to him on the table.
People were playing chess, and before we even entered the bar, we parked our bikes, and this couple were just standing outside smoking, and they're like, "Well, people really steal bikes here, like really quickly. So, welcome." We're like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah. So they said they're good bikes because
Yeah,
they're
we
Dutch
said
bikes.
it like 3 times.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and then they came into the bar and like, "You got an eye on the bike?" I was like, "Are you gonna steal it? What is going on?"
So that gives everybody at home a good idea of the
Yeah,
difference. And the
exactly.
drinks were exceptionally cheap and average. Like exactly what you can imagine.
Yeah.
Exactly what you can imagine.
Cheap and cheerful.
Yep, very cheerful, very
Yeah.
fun, beautiful little place. And then we had a reservation. Now this is cool. We went to, in Paris there's a chain of restaurants called, I think it's called the Mama Group.
Yes, the Mama Group.
And they're wildly popular. Wildly popular.
I know. For a group, it's like insane.
The first time I think we came across them is we met this Italian film director, and she invited us for dinner, and we went out, and we went to Obermama down by the canal, and there was a queue to get in. I was like, "What is this restaurant with a queue?" It hadn't even opened yet.
Yeah.
I was like, "This isn't the Paris I know." And then we went in, and it was really cool. It was cool Italian food, but it was a mega hype. And then they've got that other one in Pigalle.
Very Instagrammable.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. You always see
really.
it. Pink
And you can
Mama.
trust that the food is good.
And it's
really
very
good.
authentically Italian because everyone is Italian there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we went to this one, Mama Primi, it's called, on Rue de Dame, I believe, which is a really cool street to cycle down after 2 drinks. Slightly downhill, you don't care, you're singing O Fortuna as you go.
Oh my god, it was very responsible, everyone at home.
Of course. It was only then I noticed Otis was still sitting on the back. No.
He's guarding the bikes.
What was really
Someone
cool?
has to do it.
Really cool. Has everyone seen the movie Goodfellas? Of course you have.
I'm going to say yes,
at the
on
start-
behalf of everyone.
At the start of Goodfellas, there's like a 5-minute scene where you follow the lead character. It's not the start of the movie. It's after the main character's a kid, and then it starts with him walking into a restaurant, and he's tipping everybody, and they're making this cool experience for him.
Shaking everyone's hands.
Yeah, and it's one shot. That's really important. It's this long shot where everyone welcomes him, and he sits right at the front. And we had that moment.
Yeah, just out of
Except I
pure
didn't tip
chance.
anybody.
No.
Like, you don't tip when you walk into a restaurant in Paris. But what happened was, there's these big, because it's still a little bit cold out when we were there, there are these big black curtains. And since we've been doing extra YouTube stuff for this season, I'm always thinking like curtains or doorways are good to film going in to share the experience in a visual way that you don't get on a podcast, right? So as we open these curtains and I'm filming, it's almost like they knew who we were, and
they
that we
knew what we were doing,
and they
like,
knew we had people that are going to watch this.
I know.
Which they obviously didn't.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
they
so-
really they played ball.
And you know what the coolest thing is? if people are thinking I'm exaggerating, I'm not. And you can see the video because I got it. So we open these black curtains. I go in and the guy just comes straight up and he's like, I think he said
He's like, benvenuto,
yeah, I think they spoke
or something.
Italian.
Yeah.
He's like, come, I'll take you to the table. And he's leading us to the table. And the other staff are like jumping in and waving, going, hey, benvenuto.
Yeah, they're like turning around and like, ciao.
It was amazing. It was cool.
Yeah,
it was
so
a cool
cool.
moment. And the food was excellent. It was exactly what you...
It's really good quality. Like, you can trust it. Like, trust that you're going to have a good experience.
I think it was a starter. It was a leek split down the middle and roasted with stuff on the top. I hadn't seen it on
so
a
good.
long...
With nuts and burrata on top. Oh,
on a long like chopping board.
I know.
That was cool.
It's so good.
Good food, and it made for a good night. I wish I could keep talking about Mama Primi, but the babysitter had to go home. So we hightailed it back to the hotel, fell asleep, and woke up with a few things on the table for that day. 3 things. We're going to go through the 3 things that we did, and then we're going to give our scores for the district. By the way,
dreaded scores.
did you do dreaded scores for this one?
Well, did you?
They were a little bit dreaded.
Okay.
That was one of my
Well,
lowest
we'll
I've
see.
given.
We'll see.
But something really cool, I asked a local who you're about to meet for a tip for like something on the other side, so the far side, the western side of the 17th, for a cool local space. And she recommended this Dada Cafe, D-A-D-A, or maybe Dada. And really authentic Parisian spot. Really beautiful. Tiles.
Like mosaic floors and...
Yeah, when I say tiles, I mean mosaics. So tiny, like 1 by 1 centimeter.
You got the red fake leather seats. You got your zinc, like the zinc bar.
And the staff who, like, they're very friendly, but they're like...
They're very laddie.
They don't really care, you know. They're there for the locals, and the locals, like, you know, they want to go in and get that espresso we're talking about and get out of there. And we had breakfast there, and like a proper... like a French breakfast where you get an egg and a...
like a half baguette.
Yeah, and tartine it's called.
Exactly.
And it was cheap, and it was cheerful, and it was pleasant, and it was very picture-worthy. It was really beautiful. So we went and did that. And then, you weren't here for this. In fact, you weren't here for the next 2 bits. Then I went off on my own way because I had an invite that was a year in the making. To flashback, I get these low-key obsessions. Lena would probably call them high-key obsessions.
Yeah, I think it would.
With everything from doorways,
You're in
chasseroux.
too deep. Like, you don't see it.
That's the problem. I'd always been in too deep. And I was like, I need to take this out of the gutter and go up high. And I became fascinated with the domed rooftops that you see around 16th, 17th, 7th and 15th arrondissements. They're typically, I think they came into play around the time of the Universal Exhibitions. If you can't picture what I'm explaining here, like sometimes perfectly spherical, sometimes almost like a sort of squashed square.
Yeah, sometimes like a little meringue.
Yeah.
You know, like a baked goods kind of...
Yeah. Almost like Taj Mahal-y sometimes.
Yeah, there's a very popular thing among tour guides that I've heard several times, that the domes are supposed to be this shape of the... what is it?
Mistress's breast?
Yeah, of the architect's mistress's breast.
No way. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. And unfortunately, I always think about it when I'm looking at them because some of them are so weird. But I'd always wanted to know what it was like inside.
I mean,
and
maybe it's true.
Yeah, well, I doubt it. Some of the ones around the 7th that you've seen. And I shared pictures on Instagram stories. I want to get into one of these and see what it's like. I've always been curious. Do people live in them? I see windows up there. And someone on Instagram responded. And this is a year ago, COVID time. You know, it never happened. But now I remembered that she was in the 17th. And I sent her a message. I was like, hey, we're here today. Any chance I can come up and have a look? She said, I'm here. Come up. I said, can I bring my recorder? She said, yeah. So what you're about to hear is my chat with an American lady who found one of these coupoles and lives in it. Sarah.
Yes.
Before we even start talking, I can feel that the audio is weird in here. Do you notice it anymore?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah? It depends. So I've moved the furniture around quite a bit because it's round.
Yeah.
So it's quite difficult to find corners and to create natural, like, intimate spaces. So every time I move the furniture around, I find new places where the sound travels differently up and over the ceiling.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's probably going around the wall. Oh, that frightened me. It feels like it feels like I'm drunk or something in here. It feels like I've got headphones on listening to myself.
It does, and especially during the summer storms, it literally feels like you're in a ship because the building sort of sways just the tiniest bit.
Wow.
And you have 180 degrees of the wind, so it literally feels like you're in a boat.
Wow.
It's really cool.
And to paint a picture for the people at home, when I tilt my head back and look up, it looks like these wooden beams sort of supporting this round structure.
Yeah.
Kind of like a lighthouse, it feels like, or something.
Definitely.
Do you get used to living in a bubble, sort of?
No.
No?
No, you have pinch me moments a lot.
Are there things that are annoying about it? Are you kind of like, spatially, you kind of like, oh my god, I wish I could put a picture on that wall, but it's round.
Definitely, yeah. If there's anybody who's willing to help with the design of a round room,
Yeah.
I would be open to that.
But you never know, there might be someone listening that can help. You could have one of those TVs that go all the way around the wall, like interactive and massive.
Yeah, no, it's a really special space. It poses its own challenges, but never, ever, ever do you get used to it, I don't think.
And you've got these incredible views going everywhere. I'm just going to sit differently on the couch and feel, whoa, okay, so it's different here.
Yeah, exactly.
30 centimeters back.
Yeah.
I wonder if the listeners will be able to hear. I'm interested, like, you said before I pressed record that you don't know anyone else that lives in one of these.
No.
Do you get sort of coupole envy when you walk around and go, oh, that person's a bit more beautiful than mine?
You know, it's the perennial problem living in Paris that you see people with a terrace and you think, your life must actually be better. And then I have to have a, sober moment where I say, I think what you have is just fine. Yeah. But yes, the ones on the corner that have a balcony or something like that, I imagine.
Have you ever had people that have, like, down on street level tried to ask if they could come up and have a look at this?
No, I don't think it's even that obvious exactly where the entrance to this building is.
That's true. It's it's really fortunate. I think the story was that because I get these kind of weird fascinations with things in Paris, and these cupoles, as I believe they're called, was one of them. And I was sharing pictures of them, and then it was on Instagram.
It was.
You reached out. You're like, well, I live in one.
Yeah, exactly. I think you were pretty obvious, and you said I would die to get inside of one to see what they look like, and I said, well, your lucky day.
Did it make you feel guilty that I said I'd die to get inside one?
No, because I find myself in different areas of Paris and thinking they are so different. And when I go to other cities, I really do remark how unique it is, I think, to the architecture in Paris. So I can imagine, of course. And if you think about how many buildings there are in Paris, but how many have this architectural style, there must not be more than 100.
No, I don't think so.
Just in the entire city.
And they're specifically in 17th, 16th-ish.
I think so. I've seen them other places. But I think that would be an interesting thing, is to mark down where they all exist the city.
Yeah, now that you say, I think there's some on the left bank too in the 7th, for example.
Yeah. But to think, you live in the round part of the building and then to be on the top floor of it and actually get, the 180-degree view is pretty unique. I know that the apartments below me, this is actually the master bedroom. So
is it also round for them? No.
Yes.
Okay, so it's round all the way down.
Yep, all the way down.
How curious.
Yeah.
It is like a lighthouse. Okay, I also I wonder if there's like meetups between people that live in these and you just don't know about it yet.
I think this is the platform to set them up.
Yes. Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay, anyone else listening, we can start the club. I want to talk to you a little bit. You're from the States, right?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Georgia.
Okay, cool. I wanted to talk to you about life in the 17th.
Yes.
Because that's what this whole episode is about. People keep saying to me family, sort of villagey vibe.
Definitely.
And I think it's interesting. People say that a lot about Batignolles on the far side of the 17th, but also this side, closer to the Arc de Triomphe. Yeah,
the 17th is a huge arrondissement. So you definitely have a split between sort of the younger side that touches on the 9th. You have Pigalle and whatnot. Batignolles definitely has that vibe. And then on this side, it's more young families. It does have sort of the established feel of the 16th, but definitely a little bit younger, I think. And to me, the appeal when I was moving to Paris was to make sure that I had a a more or less authentic Parisian sort of lifestyle. I absolutely love the center, but it was purposeful for me to live a little bit removed from the typical tourist. I really enjoyed being able to walk around as I was looking at the neighborhood and not hear any English.
Yeah.
So that has had a huge impact on kind of, I think, my acclimation.
And do you find that, like, do you come across many tourists in this part of town?
No, and I think that's what's nice is when you look at a map of Paris, you see the big monuments and you see the Arc de Triomphe. And then I think most people look, I'm not really sure what's back there. There's nothing for me. Unless you're really trying to do kind of what you're doing, which is more exploratory. So it is quite nice, actually. On the back half of the Arc de Triomphe, we really don't get much by way of that.
And you don't need to be there because you can see it from your kitchen, not kitchen window, I guess.
Yeah.
From the study?
Yeah. Again, challenge is the division of space. So if people have ideas.
Yeah. Okay, so if people want to get an idea of what we're talking about, I'm going to share some pictures to go with this. But I think that wraps it up. Is there anything, I can finish on this question, is there anything in the 17th that you recommend tourists who stray this far should check out?
I would recommend Square de Batignolles. And there's a cafe called Dos. So I think most places in the 17th are pretty traditional, brasserie, cafes, whatnot. But to get a little bit more of a modern vibe, that has a nice feel.
Perfect answer. Thanks so much.
So there you have it.
So how did she find it?
It was just through a normal broker. She told me afterwards that
It was just out of luck, basically?
essentially, yeah.
Wow.
She said that she'd been looking for a while, and then her broker was like, "Oh, I just got a text that this place is opened up. It's in a little dome," and she's like, "Let's have a look," and she took it.
Oh, amazing.
So anyone can find one if you're lucky.
If you're very lucky.
It might be where we live next, if I can find one. The last thing that I did without you before I returned the bikes is I ducked into the Citeco Museum of Money, weird one.
Yeah, I mean, how do you make a museum of money?
It is
One might think.
Yeah.
Did one think that
One
whilst
thought
inside?
One wondered why they did it.
One did?
The main reason that I went is because it's this old, beautiful building, and I'm a sucker for architectural wonders, and this certainly was one.
Please describe it for us.
Oh, imagine if Miss Havisham had triple the budget and had a slightly Parisian touch. Got it? So it's kind of like brick and kind of gloomy, especially on a gloomy day, like dark, like big,
I felt
intricate
like it looked more
rooftops.
German.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
Her history's probably got some German in it. Who knows?
Sure.
No, but we'll share pictures of it. It's hard to describe, but it's this beautiful old building that they made inside into a really modern museum. And it's the kind of museum that you could expect school children go to visit. Like really interactive kind, like where you press the buttons and things happen. But personally, I don't care about...
Would you do the trek for it?
No, I wouldn't.
No.
No,
Okay, not
I mean,
worth the trek.
unless you're really into seeing inside old buildings, and it was really special. It was a really nice building. But full disclosure, I talked to one of the staff there. I don't want to say which one in case they get in trouble. And I said, there's not many people here. And he or she said, yeah, we opened at a really bad time during COVID and whatever, so no tourists are here, and
No
no one's
one's
really
found
here. And I was like, it must be pretty boring for you because there's no one here. And he or she said, it's damn boring. And it wasn't a good vibe.
Aww.
It wasn't a good vibe, but I did get a souvenir. Because I've been getting souvenirs from many of the districts, and I haven't showed you this yet.
This is new to me.
So there was a... Don't get too excited.
Stop kidding.
There was a booth, and it was like, print your face on money. So I'll show you. Wait. Let me just read it to you before I show it. So you can get a 20 euro... you get a 20 euro note with the face of the king in it. The Cité de l'Économie, that's what it's called. So it's a museum of economy.
Yeah.
And it's very official, all stamped. And then they put a black and white photo of you in the middle. And the first time I went to didn't work. So I went to the second one after I pressed all the buttons. And I was really sort of irritated that the first one hadn't worked.
I just love the vision of you doing this by yourself.
In an empty museum.
Yeah, empty. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah,
I have to do it
frustrated.
again.
Well, I had that really fun vibe from when we were in the 19th and we did the photo booth.
Did you?
I was doing it by
so
myself.
sad.
I know, it was
Oh,
sad.
sad.
You know what? And I felt guilty too. There was a security lady down there. You know, they have one in every room in every museum. And she was like eyeing me weird. She's like, why are you going into the...
You should have
Booth by
invited
yourself,
her
I know.
into the picture with you.
So that explains my face a little bit in the middle of this banknote. But it did work, and it printed out, and here's me on 20 euros. What do you think? Good souvenir, huh?
You look like an
Oh,
escaped
there's more on the
convict.
back. Oh, wow. I hadn't even opened it yet. Okay.
What is going on
It's definitely
here?
made for children, isn't it?
Whoa, you should not be in that.
But there's two, so
circle.
you can keep one and I keep one. We'll both keep them in our wallets.
Great, thank you.
Okay, on that note, I'll share a picture of that on social media, everybody. The Earful Tower currency.
Okay, yeah.
Moving on. I want to hear your scores for the district. For those of
I
you...
think I can.
For those of you who are new around here, we scored out of 10 on everything from like accessibility to strollability. I'm just getting up my scores here. Neither of us have discussed this.
Is this a scather?
What do you mean?
Is it
Oh, did I scathing score?
Yeah, is it a scather?
Time will tell. Do you want to begin?
Okay. Okay, sure.
Strollability.
Okay, here we go. Strollability, I gave it a 7.
Yep, I gave it a 6. Mm-hmm. I think, like with last week, if our scores are close, no need to explain.
Yeah, no comments.
Okay.
Okay, affordability,
Yep.
4.
I gave 6.
Whoa.
Let's discuss.
Okay, let's discuss. How about you?
I was thinking we went to a bar and had very cheap drinks.
Yeah.
It was students, like you said, playing chess.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of places really are dotted around.
Okay, but now I feel like you are putting all your hopes on that cheap student
because,
bar.
Because if everything was like where the cocktail bar was in the Arc de Triomphe, yeah, I'd be giving it a high score. But because there was such a juxtaposition between two sides of the district, I was happy to give it a 6.
Oof, I don't know. I'm sticking to 4.
low
Yeah, okay.
score.
Yeah. Shareability.
So shareability is you take a random picture, would you share it with your friends or on Instagram or whatever?
50-50 for me. Gave it a 5.
Yeah, I gave it a 6.
Okay.
Yep.
Touristability? Please explain.
Yeah, touristability is if you're a tourist.
Yeah. Do you want to end up here?
Yeah, and obviously there's going to be 10s. Like,
Do you want to end up at the Museum of Economy?
What did you put?
4.
I put 2.
2?
I was harsh there. I know it, but it's true.
Yeah, you don't.
There's
like,
nothing touristy
no.
going on. There's nothing touristy.
Nah.
I think 2 was a good score.
Okay, 4 is very generous.
You know what I even thought? One thing we didn't talk about at all is that long park that we cycled along.
Yeah, but that was not cool.
No, but I mean, talking about touristability.
Yeah.
And we had this
Sure.
moment, as lovely as it was, but there were a lot of rats. Like,
Oh my god, I
it
forgot
felt
that.
like they
Yes.
were chasing us. Like, what did I say at the time? Like,
Yeah.
it was like the horses in the waves. It's like dolphins in waves.
Yeah, dolphins and waves
Yeah.
behind a boat.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
But rats by our feet.
Yeah, but we were cycling.
not cute.
And I was like, oh, look at the rats, because I like seeing the animals in Paris. And
You're
then
so
he was like,
excited.
we gotta go quicker.
Yeah, and you were like blocking my way. I was like, go, go, go.
It was quite amazing. They were really...
Yeah,
Yeah.
playful.
So touristability too.
Yeah.
And accessibility. How accessible is it when you're there and to the rest of Paris? I give it
Yeah.
a 4.
Yeah, I'm regretting my score here.
What'd you put?
I gave it 6. It's way too high.
Can't regret a score. What was your total?
26.
And I gave 24, so
Okay.
50.
Okay.
50 is a perfect sum up.
Yeah, it
of
is.
that arrondissement.
Because it's like, yeah, it's nice, but
Meh.
I mean, whatever you find, you can find the same thing also better in another part of Paris. So, like the park, yeah, but you got more amazing parks.
So I think we'll finish with a huge sorry to all the residents of the 17th who have switched us off in disgust right now.
No, but I'm sure it's a lovely place to live.
Yeah. In fact, I know some of the listeners to this show live
Yeah.
there, and we've said it, there are a lot of redeeming features. But if you're a tourist, it boils down to this. This is a lot of what this show is about this season. You want to be in neighboring districts, essentially.
Yeah.
But you should definitely visit. It's a good vibe, a family vibe.
It's a good arrondissement to pop in. Check it out.
I want to say a few thank yous before we finish. Augusta, the photographer, Augusta Sagnelli, did another brilliant job. Brilliant job. You'll be seeing her pictures on social media and on the website. Speaking of the website, Charlotte Pleasance has been helping make all these blog posts. I've never had so many blog posts on my website.
It is. It's like fizzling. It's great.
Yeah, fizzling is definitely not the right word.
Nah.
Sizzling.
Sizzling.
The opposite. It's the opposite to fizzling. Charlotte's been helping researching and making the blog posts and so on. Thanks to Julene for babysitting, if I didn't say it already. And thanks to Eddie, who edited the very episode that you're listening to, made the YouTube video, and I'm glad I remembered this week, made the itineraries for the Patreon supporters. And what we've done there is he's made these beautiful, like the scrolls that he used to do, where he puts the pictures together and all nice and graphic designy. You and I have recommended how best to spend time there. And we're a bit brutal. Like, it's very honest. So if you're a Patreon member, you can find, like, the exact way to spend your time in this district.
Yeah, what to expect, what we recommend, what we don't recommend, perhaps.
Exactly. So that is the perfect lead into my final thank you, which is to the Patreon supporters who literally make this happen. We're paying for everything. And a note on that, I was thinking about it. If you ever see someone recommend a hotel online,
don't trust them.
You know, I guarantee you it's because they've been paid to do it or they stayed for free. So expand that for this whole season. That's why we're paying for it. We're going to tell you when it's good, when it's bad.
Yeah, we want to make it really trustworthy and transparent.
Because we could get free. Someone. I'm bringing this up because someone messaged me on Instagram. We wouldn't mind if you went and got an influencer stay for free at a hotel. I'm like, yeah, but then you just say nice things about them, and then that's how you chose the hotels because you got a free one. No, we're doing the research. We're paying for it, and we're giving you the honest feedback. So. If you want to be part of this season, sign up patreon.com/the Earful Tower. Because it's the end of the month, I'd advise people, you can wait till the new month. It charges you when you sign up or at the start of each month, or sign up for the year. 2 months free.
Easy peasy.
Patreon.com/the Earful Tower. That's how this is all happening. We'll be back with the 16th.
Yes.
Next
Another
week.
fizzling
Another fizzling episode. Very different vibe to the 17th, though. Luxurious, expensive, fancy. And I think you guys are going to like that episode. We'll see you then. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.